Hello, blessed soul family. The lights are doing something cool over there. Of course, I got up to do something else, and it was like I was like mesmerized by it, and then I got up to do something else, and I sat down, and it's still there. But I mean, it was like dance, and you can kind of. Anyway, we'll see if the angels will speak to us through this light. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I just wanted to add a few things to last night. We worked with the first quarter moon energy and we were talking about taking action. Well, it's interesting because lately when I write in my book, I've got like the different dates, right? So I'll try and stay in the box. But lately, I'm just like, I just write all over the place. And when I was done, I was like, oh no. I'm like, we forgot to talk about this and that. And they're like, no, no, no. No, 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 no. You didn't forget anything. They're like, it was exactly the way it was supposed to be. I feel like they're sitting here with us. So that's the goddess mother right here. It's a goddess mother statue I have. And I've got some crystals and other things kind of like lined up around there. Um, but I really wanted to first and foremost say, if you are here, most likely you've been walking with me a really long time. And if you're new here, welcome. And welcome back, of course, to those who keep coming back. But to the new people, you're not new. You just found us. You've always been with us, right? You've been looking for us. You're like, where's my family? Where's my community? We're right here. And on the magical medium. And we're right here. We're here together. And one of the things that came up yesterday was, I always like to listen to music before I start. And there was this music from the Game of Thrones, and it was called Blood of My Blood. And I'm going to give a shout out to Amber and just say, for Amber and all of you, because Amber, you and I, we have been, man, talk about blood of blood, right? Like, we were Reiki sisters together. That's a big deal, right? There weren't many of us. I think there was 5 of us total. And, we were brought together for a reason. And sometimes we float in and out of each other's lives and, we go away for long periods of time. Sometimes we never go back. But there are some people that I feel anyway will always be like this blood of my blood. And you know who you are. But there were quite a few of you in the last year who've reached out to me in different capacities and didn't like the way I responded to certain things. And then I had a lot of things come at me at once over the last few weeks from many people. And that's why I put out that Tough Love Indeed episode. It's just to wake you up. It's just to be like, listen, you're not a fucking victim. We're not victims. We are not victims. And thank you to the Hedge Witch, okay? So I am going to put a link below to their channel, but her name is Deborah, and she's in South Africa. She has become one of my favorite readers of all time, but they call her the Sagittarius Whisperer because 75% of her people that follow her are Sagittarius, and she's a Sagittarius herself. And a lot of the fire signs, we're going through a lot of different things right now. As of right this moment, we're in this Leo energy. But I started to see this pattern with all of us, and this kind of victimhood, and it doesn't feel like we're being a victim, but it is. And so Deborah said something the other day, and it was so awesome because I love when other readers, because I'm a reader as well, so it's really awesome. We have the aha moment too, right? We're just the channeler, we're the medium, we're the go-between. We have the same fucking cool moments that you do, you know what I mean? We're it's fucking awesome. But one of the things that came through in the reading was that complaining is being a victim. And that struck a chord with me so deep in my soul. I was like, oh my gosh. And Alder has said to me the one thing that drives him crazy about us is I complain too much. And I'm like, I'm not complaining, I'm just observing. But then it's am I though? And then am I judging? It's all these different things. So I started to see all these things about myself, and I'm like, hello, mirror, So we're just mirroring each other. But at the same time, when we're all going through shit at the same time, especially fire signs, if we're going through things at the same time, I'm like, I can't always hold space for you guys, you know? And so if you keep coming at me, I'm just like, and it's like, I feel like you all know, like, I'm not tethered to my phone. And I've actually been more tethered to my phone in the last year than I can remember. And I think it's because I'm out here in the middle of nowhere and off grid. And so it's like, it's my link. You know, a lot of times I tell people, I'm like, I do these episodes for you guys, but you're here with me because I call you in before. So it's like, I'm hanging out with you, and the spirits are always like, I never feel alone. So this social media, this kind of like connection with you guys through the internet, it's like we're still doing it. We're just not doing it through here. So like if you're thinking about me, I feel it. If you're, you know, and if you're worried about whether what I'm thinking, never. I love you. Just feel love. If you send love to me, I send love back. You know, and if you're sending out this like vibe, it's gonna come back at you like that because I have a system set in place to repel that fucking energy, because I have enough in my household to deal with. My husband and I are both magical fucking healers. This is not our first life. I have done this many times, and I have had some really great moments with spirit recently. One of them was one of my spirit guides. She was so funny. She goes, I love how dedicated you are to being human. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, why do you research things that you already know? And I'm like, well, I just want to see like other people's viewpoints on it so that I can bring it out to everybody. And she's like, it's like, I'm just going to say Deborah, but it wasn't Deborah, but it kind of felt like that, like Deborah's energy. She was kind of like, just cut to the core fucking sag that I need. And she's just like, girl, like, you don't need to do that. And so for some of you as light workers, it's like you're trying too hard to be human. You're trying too hard to make money. You're trying too hard to make your relationships work. You're trying too hard to be a good parent. You're trying too hard. Just trust that it's going to fucking work out. I'm going to tell you right now, one of the things that was hanging over our heads, and I don't like to share a lot of my personal information, but this is important. So all this work that we had been doing with our landlord and trade, we were just stocking it up for rent, right? Because we're like, that's fucking awesome. Then when we do finally move in, we're going to be stoked. Like, we won't have to pay rent for months. And we love that. And we're like, in the meantime, we're saving money. We're doing stuff, you know. Well, all of a sudden our money stopped and like things were coming in. We were down to our last $3. This just happened like a month ago. And I was freaking the fuck out. I'm like, dude, something's wrong. Like, something's wrong. We're doing something wrong. I'm like, if the money's not flowing, something's wrong. If the energy isn't flowing in a positive way, something's wrong. Sometimes we're just in a standstill and there's not anything wrong. And I don't want to say right and wrong. I'm saying something is uncomfortable. Sometimes you just have to live in the uncomfortable for a while, right? But most of the time it's because we're not doing something that we're supposed to be doing. And Goddess bless Christina Lopes. I don't know if it's Lopes or Lopez, Lopes. But Spirit had me kind of come back around to them. I was listening to them years ago. You'll hear me talking about them again. I go through my gurus, you know, go through my different guru phases, but I'm back to her again because the thing I love about her so much is that she started out as a real therapist, a real, like, you know, like a doctor. Like, she had to go through all these different things. And then her spirituality, actually, her light worker kicked in. And now she's got all this like real fucking tangible evidence behind her that she's done the work. So she's learned how to deal with people and their personalities. And now she's seeing how it ties into spirituality. And that leads us to our key ingredient for today's episode, astrology. I urge you to research your chart. And I mean really research it. Just your chart. Just research your chart. When I started to research my chart, like really get into it and like taking all the information, writing down like the different planets, understanding like what it means. I even color coded them, get color coded pens. I wrote down like, you know, for instance, right? Because we're dealing with Venus in retrograde. Venus, the planet of love, relationships, pleasure, self-worth, finances, value, beauty, and harmony. Well, if Venus is in retrograde until the first week in September, which she is, she officially went retrograde in real time. I believe it is the 26th. Yes. We're going to be re-looking at all of these things again. Why are your finances stagnant? Find out why. Are you in the wrong place with the right person at the wrong time? You know what I mean? Sometimes we're with the right person at the wrong time. Or, you know, this has been one of our tribe members. They have been going through this as well, where they're like, I don't know if we're just placeholders for each other, or if like, they're like, I just feel really connected to this person, but I don't feel like I'm meant to be with them at that, you know, at this time. I'm like, fucking listen to that. So listen to your intuition, trust yourself, trust your intuition. Don't just do something because you think it's going to be easier for you or your family or whatever. The thing that will be easy for you is when you pull away from the energies and the entities that are not in your right place, especially for those of you who do not flourish in the city. Find a place to live, find a community. There are so many communities now. Maybe you're meant to leave where you are in a city and then go live in a community somewhere in nature, even if it's for 6 months or a year or whatever. Just give yourself time to do something different. Okay? Now, with that being said, not during this retrograde do you want to do like Marin Altman, love her. She's like, this isn't the time to do a makeover. She's like, because it's in Leo, we're in Leo season 2, right? So it feels a little backward because normally with Leo, we're all like, da, 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 da. We're all like Leo season, right? Like, because Leos put their shit out there. So just remember that what you put out comes back to you. So if you're ungrounded and you're unstable and whatever, and you're a powerful fucking Leo, or you're a powerful fire sign, whatever, we're all powerful. But you know what I mean? Whatever is going on, astrologically speaking, look into that. Find somebody that you trust. I love Marin Altman. She's awesome. She just says it like it is. I like her, but find who works for you. There are so many. Braca Goldsmith, Pamela Gregory. There are all different astrologers, but once you start seeing yourself through your chart, then you can understand who you are. I have so much Sag in my chart, and my Mercury, which is communication, intellect, information, internal dialogue, analyzing, affects us because it's so close to the earth, Mercury, which is why when it goes retrograde. But that's in Sagittarius. And then when I looked in Mercury and Sagittarius, I'm like, yeah, that is totally me, right? And I could go on and on with my chart. And the more I've been doing that, I'm connecting to spirit. I'm connecting to my true self, because this is your own roadmap to your own life. Astrology is a roadmap to your own life. I've been kind of like this with it for a long time. And I was like, but because I knew that there was something I needed to learn, I needed more of the peripheral before I dug to the core. And now I'm at the core. And I feel like for all of you, that's your secret ingredient, is finding out who you are, how you work, how you communicate. And thank you, Zoe, for telling us about the love languages. And thank you, Amber. You are an amazing fucking rock star light worker. Don't forget who you are. This episode is dedicated to Sinead O'Connor. She died, I believe, today, and she was a rebel. And there's just so many things I feel like I'm going to touch on. I only have like 20 more seconds. So look in the description box and also look in the comments. We've got 528 Hertz and angel numbers 2244 and 2211 to work with. Okay.